93% of women can't lose fat and go from this to this because they don't know the information I'm about to reveal. It's 3 times harder for a woman to lose weight compared to men, but the reason why will shock you. It's not the caloric deficit or the cardio workouts or the specialized diet, because women don't understand their hormones. Women have a core function of reproduction and your body has to protect it. And I want you to think of it as 6 invisible barriers. And in this video, I'm going to give you 4 protocols to remove them. My name is Dr. Michael Diamonds. I'm a medical doctor. I am a pro-natural bodybuilder, a scientist, and I've coached thousands of women at this stage, helping them finally lose their belly fat. So these are the hidden sabotage systems. Let me explain what's really happening inside your body. While men can eat less and exercise more to lose weight, women have complex hormones that actively fight the traditional weight loss advice. Your hormones do this to help you preserve fat for reproduction and survival. When you try to lose weight using standard advice, it's like fighting millions of years of evolution. These 6 barriers work together, and research calls it metabolic resistance. It's when your body becomes very efficient at storing fat and inefficient at burning it. Barrier number 1, the progesterone appetite amplification system. You know how some weeks you feel completely in control of your eating and then other weeks you feel like raiding the fridge at 9 p.m.? You start blaming yourself because you have a lack of willpower, but there's something deeper that's causing it. During the luteal phase of your menstrual cycle, day 15 to 28, progesterone levels shoot up 10 times. Your progesterone doesn't just affect your reproductive system, it rewires how your brain controls hunger. So here's how. Progesterone crosses into your brain and it attaches to a receptor in your hypothalamus. This attach turns on a special neuron called neuropeptide Y, NPY neurons. These neurons are your brain's main hunger alarm. When neuropeptide Y neurons are activated during the luteal phase, they increase ghrelin, the hunger hormone. And it does it by 10 to 15% and reduce your sensitivity to leptin, the fullness hormone, by 10 to 15%. This makes you feel hungrier and less satisfied, driving you to eat more. Progesterone also ramps up your craving for sugary, carb-rich foods by boosting dopamine release in your brain's reward system, making those snacks feel irresistible. That's why these midnight cravings become unstoppable. The second barrier is the estrogen-insulin resistance matrix. There's another metabolic collapse happening in your body that makes weight loss nearly impossible using the traditional weight loss methods. When estrogen drops during the perimenopause and menopause phase, it doesn't just affect your reproductive system, it also changes how your cells processes glucose and insulin. Estrogen normally turns on proteins called GLUT4 in your muscles. These proteins are like doorways that allow glucose to enter the muscle tissue for energy. When estrogen drops 90% during menopause or during your menstrual cycle, GLUT4 activity decreases by 40 to 50%. This means your muscles cannot absorb that glucose efficiently, so that glucose starts staying in your bloodstream longer. Your pancreas responds by making more insulin, trying to force the glucose to go somewhere. With your muscles essentially closed for business, that excess glucose gets shuttled directly to your fat cells for storage. And here's where it gets worse. As you get belly fat around your belly, these cells start making inflammatory molecules. These inflammatory molecules then start interfering with insulin pathways. They turn on enzymes called serine kinase that damage insulin receptor substrate, IRS1, which breaks the communication between insulin and your cells. As you can see, this is a vicious cycle. Insulin resistance leads to more belly fat storage, which makes more inflammation, which worsens insulin resistance. This is why most postmenopausal women have high inflammatory markers compared to premenopausal women. Low levels of estrogen sometimes also starts reducing thyroid conversion. Your body makes less T3, which is the active form of thyroid hormone, from T4, the inactive form, dropping your basal metabolic rate by 50 to 150 calories daily. This is why many women say that their metabolism just stopped working around menopause. Barrier number 3, the sarcopenia metabolism death spiral. After 40, women start losing muscle at a rate about 0.5% per year. That adds up roughly 3 to 8% decline per decade during your 40s. And this condition is called sarcopenia. So here's how it happens. You have a declining growth hormone and IGF-1 levels that cut muscle protein building by 15 to 30%, slowing your metabolism and making it harder to burn calories. This invisible process can slash your daily calorie burn by 50 to 150, piling on more fat. And that's not all. Increased inflammation from your belly fat turns on a system in your body that breaks down muscle proteins into tiny pieces, shrinking your muscles. They also boost a protein called myostatin, which stops new muscle growth and also speeds up muscle loss. This muscle loss slows your metabolism, making it harder to burn fat and easier to gain weight. Muscle loss also means fewer mitochondria. That's your cellular powerhouse that's there for fat burning. Each muscle contains hundreds of mitochondria, your factories to burn calories. When you lose muscle, you lose many of these fat burning factories, all this making it a lot easier to gain fat and stopping you from losing it. Barrier number 4, the cortisol visceral fat storage system. So a number of processes are happening, including an enzyme being activated called cortisone reductase, which converts cortisone into cortisol. We know the higher the cortisol, the more fat storing is happening. It also messes with your brain, increasing your hunger signals by 20 to 40% and decreasing your fullness signals. This makes you crave sugary fatty foods and you will end up eating 200 to 300 extra calories. Lack of sleep even makes it worse, cutting fat burning growth hormone by up to 50% and raising your cortisol and boosting your hunger. And this creates the perfect storm for fat gain. Now I'll show you a simple way to calm the storm and also help melt the belly fat. But let's talk about barrier 5, the PCOS insulin fat lock system. Polycystic ovarian syndrome, also known as PCOS, affects about 15 to 20% of women, but 50 to 70% of women don't even know that they have it. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you want me to make a video for the ladies on PCOS. And just leave the video with a gentle thumbs up and I'll make that happen. It's a very specialized topic, but if you want it, I'll make it. It creates a tough environment that makes losing fat extremely difficult, especially following diet and exercise. That's because PCOS messes with your body's insulin, making your muscles, liver, and fat cells need 2 to 3 times more insulin to handle regular sugar. This is happening because insulin signals get blocked by a process called serine phosphorylation, which jams up communication in your cells. High insulin triggers enzymes that turn sugar into fat, storing it in your body, especially around your belly fat, while blocking enzymes that burn fat. So it's like the fat gets locked and it can't escape. PCOS also ramps up hormones like testosterone. Especially for women, this worsens insulin resistance. These hormones also boost an enzyme that creates more cortisol in your belly fat, adding to that fat storage. On top of that, PCOS causes inflammation, raising your inflammatory markers like your C-reactive protein, your tumor necrosis alpha, interleukin 6 by 20 to 100%, which further messes with the insulin and fat burning. And this is the last barrier, barrier number 6, the thyroid metabolic shutdown. Hypothyroidism, a thyroid problem, affects 4 to 5% of women, and many have milder versions called subclinical hypothyroidism, and it goes unnoticed. Your thyroid is like the gas pedal for your metabolism, controlling how fast your body burns calories. When it slows down, weight loss becomes really tough. Your thyroid makes 2 hormones, T4, the inactive form, and T3, the active form, that powers your metabolism. In hypothyroidism, hypo, not hypo, your body makes less T3, slowing down your cell's energy factories, your mitochondria, by up to 15%, cutting that 50 to 100 calories extra burn. It also builds up a substance called hyaluronan, causing water retention that adds 5 to 10 pounds, hiding your progress. How to know if your thyroid isn't working properly? Look for signs like you're feeling tired all the time, gaining weight despite eating, cold hands and feet, dry skin, hair loss, constipation, feeling down, especially after pregnancy or menopause. To be sure, ask your doctor for a full thyroid test, checking your TSH. Anything about 2.5% may be a warning. T3, T4, and thyroid antibodies. Low T3 is a red flag. If your morning body temperature is consistently below 97.8 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 days, it might be a hint of a thyroid issue. But getting a full test will be the best way to know for sure. Now, here's how we will systemically dismantle these barriers. Number one is what I created called progressive fasting for insulin and cortisol control. So this addresses the estrogen insulin resistance, the cortisol fat storage, and the PCOS related insulin resistance. So progressive fasting is a protocol that I designed adjusting your fasting window based on your caloric intake and your hormonal fluctuations. Fasting periods of 14 to 16 hours turn on AMPK, which improves insulin sensitivity by 30 to 40%. Also reduces cortisol by 20 to 25% when done consistently, and it depletes your liver glycogen, forcing your body to burn fat instead of relying on constant glucose. I designed progressive fasting so women could avoid putting their body in a high cortisol state. So here's how to do it. The problem I see with a lot of women is that they go from eating normal food. Imagine this is your stomach and these are all the calories that you're eating. You go from this to this. This is gonna shock the body and it's gonna stress you out. In week 1, I want you to eat a 12-12 fast. I want you to have your first meal 8 a.m. and your last meal at 8 p.m. And your body's a creature of habit, and getting a good source of energy in the morning, spreading your meals throughout the day can help you maintain a healthier sugar balance, and also improving your insulin sensitivity. And having your last meal at 8 p.m. will also stop you from snacking in the evening. After 2 weeks, reduce your eating window by 2 hours. So then go for a 14-10. So breakfast at 10 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. and dinner at 8 p.m. After another 2 to 4 weeks, reduce your eating window by another 2 hours, and then you go to the classic 16-8, which you're doing this. Right now, you're slowly progressing from eating longer to eating in a shorter window, and your body can adapt without spiking cortisol, because you're not rushing. Here you're just basically skipping breakfast. This strategy is suitable using the same logic as the open and closing your eating windows. Break your fast with a healthy omelet. I'm talking 40 grams of protein, so that's about 11 ounces of egg whites and a whole egg. I want you to add in there non-starchy veggies, spinach, cherry tomatoes, bell peppers, right? And add 1 tablespoon of olive oil that has healthy fats in there, or you can have avocado. The next step is a cycle synchronized high protein nutrition. This is gonna help us deal with the high levels of progesterone, the sarcopenia related muscle loss, the low metabolism, and the thyroid dysfunction. This protocol means adjusting your protein intake based on your menstrual cycle, adding nutrients that support your muscle and thyroid. So remember what I was saying about the luteal phase, roughly days 15 to 28? Higher protein intake will give your body the amino acid it needs to make serotonin, which progesterone normally suppresses. We also want to have higher nutrients like iodine and selenium to support your thyroid function. Right? Foods that are high in these is tuna, sardines, chicken, eggs, Brazil nuts, cod, plain yogurt, and seaweed. So this is the exact protocol. From day 0 of bleeding, day 1 to 14 in your follicular phase, I want you to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So example, if you're a 140-pound lady, you should eat 140 grams of protein daily. In your luteal phase, day 15 to 28, I want you to boost your protein to 1.3 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So for example, a 140-pound woman would be eating 182 grams of protein daily, and I want you to divide that in 3 to 4 meals. I want you to add a tablespoon of almond butter, as it's going to provide you with magnesium for progesterone metabolism. And these are the daily protein sources that are great for you: eggs, salmon, quinoa, lean ground turkey. Thyroid support includes green tea and Brazilian nuts. So you can have 2 to 3 nuts daily with 1 or 2 cups of green tea. The next protocol, resistance training with recovery optimization. This is going to help us address the sarcopenia related muscle loss, cortisol regulation, and insulin resistance. Resistance training turns on mTOR. This is a pathway that builds muscle protein while turning on PCG, which creates new mitochondria. This is important because each pound of muscle burns 6 to 7 calories per day at rest, whereas a pound of fat only burns 2 to 3 calories per day at rest. Additionally, proper recovery between sessions will reduce your cortisol levels and increase your growth hormone by 150%, creating this optimal environment for fat burning and muscle building. This is the exact same protocols I did with my mom. She dropped over 40 pounds. So I want you to do 3 sessions minimum weekly for 45 minutes. And I want you to focus on compound movements, your squats, deadlifts, rows, bench press. Do 3 sets each exercise, 8 to 12 reps. I actually want to give you ladies a workout. So linked in the description, I will give you guys a PDF. I'll email it to you. Just fill in your email. For recovery, this is what I want you to do. 7 to 9 hours of sleep. You can take about 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate before bed, and this will help you relax your nervous system. And you can also practice 4-7-8, a deep breathing method to help you relax before bed. So this is how you do it. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 7 seconds, and exhale slowly for 8 seconds. And next one, I want you to follow the anti-inflammatory low glycemic nutrition. This will help us address the PCOS related insulin issues, your belly fat inflammation, and your thyroid dysfunction. Omega-3 fatty acids reduce inflammation in your body, which makes insulin resistance worse, especially in PCOS. Low glycemic foods prevent sugar spikes that turn on fat burning enzymes, keeping your body in a fat burning state instead of storing it. At the same time, anti-inflammatory foods reduce inflammatory chemicals by 30 to 40%, which will help your insulin work better and will support your thyroid. So I want you to do this daily. 25 to 30 grams of fiber from vegetables and low sugar fruits. 2 grams of omega-3 fatty acids from fish or supplements. I want you to limit refined carbs and sugars to under 25 grams daily. And I want you to eat more anti-inflammatory foods. 2 servings of fatty fish weekly. So I'm talking 6 ounces of salmon, mackerel, sardines. I want you to have 1 tablespoon of turmeric with black pepper and add this to your meal or to your smoothies. And I want every day 2 cups of green leafy vegetables, spinach, kale, for example, 1 cup of berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, and 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. It needs to come in a dark bottle. And I want you to replace your white rice with cauliflower rice or quinoa. Replace your pasta with zucchini noodles or shirataki noodles. Replace your bread with lettuce wraps or almond flour alternatives. Replace the potatoes with turnips or radishes. Each carbohydrate meal should be had earlier in the day when your insulin sensitivity is the highest. Save dinner for mostly protein and vegetables and healthy fats. This is how I want you to integrate these all together. When you combine these 4 protocols, you're addressing all 6 barriers at once. The progressive fasting resets your insulin and cortisol, helping your body switch from fat storage mode to fat burning mode. The cycle synchronized protein supports changing hormonal needs throughout the month while building calorie burning muscle tissue. The resistance training will create a metabolically active muscle that burns 24/7 while managing your stress hormones. And finally, the anti-inflammatory diet will reduce inflammation, that will reduce insulin and thyroid problems, allowing the metabolism to function properly again. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and now you understand why so many women going through menstrual cycle and also dealing with all the issues after 40 are struggling to lose fat. Now you know what to do to be able to counteract these barriers. I feel like you have all the tools, but I'm in the comments section down below. Any questions you have for the next 48 hours, I will reply to every comment. But if you want a more detailed video on how to build your diet, how to follow the plan, how to eat a burger daily to lose your belly fat, this video here is incredible, if I do say so myself, in teaching you how to do that step by step. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.